Once again, you're watching Variety with John and Anna. That was a great segment with Anna Hall and Greg Giorgio. Lots of fun. Next up on the show, I have my good friend, and yes, I call her my good friend because she's been on with me many times before, and she is a renowned psychic as well. Corbie Mitleid, thank you so much.
Good to see you, John.
And you didn't tell me to say that, by the way.
Didn't even slip you 20. No, I didn't.
No. How you been, Corbie? It's been
Wonderful.
a while, hasn't it?
It has, but I'm right in the middle of what I call silly season, where I'm on the road just about every weekend.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that. You're always on the road, almost every weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so what are you doing while you're on the road?
I read coast to coast and into Canada. There are a number of holistic expos, psychic fairs, and I find that I really enjoy being out in the public. For one thing, I can reach a lot of people that don't really want to come to Schoharie with our 32,000 people in cows and sheep. I mean, they just don't. So my schedule over the next 3 months, Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, several places in Ontario, Allentown, York, Reading.
Wow.
It's
you're
all
everywhere.
I am.
So what are you doing while you're out there?
Well, shows will run sometimes 2 days, sometimes in Canada especially, they'll run 4 days, especially a long weekend. So I generally get there the day before.
Okay.
First day of the show, you pack in, and it's like any trade show. You've got your 10 by 10 booth. Some of them have pipe and drape. You set up. I have a table where I read in back of the main table, and then people just come in. And because I'm pretty well known on the circuit, I read open to close. So in an 11-hour day, which the Canadian days often are, I'll read anywhere between 20 and 22 people plus lecture.
Wow. So you spend your days giving readings?
I do. People say, how can you do this? I get a reader's high when I'm sitting with a client who very much needs this information and needs to talk to dead Aunt Mabel. That's my thing.
So what does that feel like? You're going out on the road, you get to meet all these new people, it's exciting, you go out each and every weekend.
It's a party.
It's a party.
I love it. But I'll tell you, at the end of those 11-hour days, you just put me in a body bag and wheel me back to the hotel. And all of these I drive to. The show in London, Ontario is 10 hours.
Wow.
So it's a long drive. May take me a couple of days to get home because I'll stay overnight. But it's wonderful. It keeps me aware of what's going on out there. It puts my version of what's going on out there. It is how I stay current. And because of the book, Your Soul's Plan, I have clients all over the world.
Wow. So we're going to talk about that book as well, but I want to plug a couple of the events that you have coming up. And I know a lot of this information is available on Corbie's website, which is, what is it?
Firethroughspirit.com.
So that's easy enough to remember. Firethroughspirit.com. Or you can Google
Corbie
Google
Mitleid.
is a great tool nowadays. You can Google Corbie Mitleid.
And YouTube.
So what do you have on YouTube at the moment?
At the moment, I have a couple of things that I did with you on a True Talk show, which is great fun.
Yes.
And there are 3 short pieces when I was in Arizona in April. We did a video for the author of the book where I was speaking to an audience. It deals with things like get happy first. I love what Anna said about all she wants for her birthday is to be happy. Yes. That's all anybody wants.
Yes.
Everything else just devolves to that. So there's that. There's change your beliefs, change your world. If anybody that you know has had to deal with cancer, it'll touch a little bit on that. And it's out there. And you know me, I make people laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. You always bring a smile to our faces. And you have these events coming up. Anything specific you want to mention now that you're on air? What do you? If you really want to see Corbie, where can we see Corbie?
All right. The very next one that I'm doing is actually in Rochester. It's a 2-day show, and I'm teaching my workshop, Decadance, which is, I don't care who you are, you can read any one of those non-tarot divination decks by the end of the evening when you sit with me in this workshop, because you know my philosophy is everybody can do what I do. I'm not special.
And has a ring to it, Decadance.
D-E-C-K-A, dance. It's dancing with your deck.
And it's self-teaching?
It's experiential workshop.
Okay.
You're going to, it's not a matter of me standing there and lecturing, because frankly, that bores me and you. You're going to be working with the decks, you'll be working with other people in the class. It's great fun.
And that is a lot of fun when you're able to be involved, and there are all sorts of astrology cards that you can use as well.
There's astrology,
and everywhere.
Angels and fairies and mermaids, and you name it, it's there.
And it's a lot of fun, and you can get different interpretations from the cards as well, can't you?
Because you do it based on what's your life experience. That card means this to me. It's going to mean something entirely different, but as accurate for you.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun. We'll have to bring those by next time, because I always have a great time with those astrology cards.
I love those.
I want to talk about your book as well, Your Soul's Plan, the book that you're involved with, and I want to make sure I say this right. The information in the book, you're one of the 4 major mediums.
That's right.
Who are channeled in the book, Your Soul's Plan.
We do the channeling.
And this tells your story about surviving cancer, and you're a 3-time survivor?
3-time survivor.
Okay.
The purpose of the book is, no matter what you've been through, parenting handicapped children, accidents, addictions, death of a loved one, when you understand that you planned this for learning with the people that were involved, a lot of the pain, a lot of the why did this happen to me goes away. So there was myself, the late Glenna Dietrich, Deb DeBarry, and Stacy Wells, a good friend of mine. We're the 4 mediums who brought the information down through past lives, through channeling angels, and I can actually channel people's souls.
And your name in the book is Dolores.
No, Doris.
Doris. Okay.
Here's the story. In the physical illness chapter, they did talk about my particular cancer dance, but we gave me what I call a nom de book, because they didn't want people getting Corbie the medium mixed up with Corbie the subject. So when I do my mediumship in there, it's Corbie Mitleid, but when you read that story of the cancer person, we call her Doris. But that's actually my story.
Okay, so why should I read this? Is it inspiring?
It is very inspiring. It brings peace. Because too often people say, why did this happen? For me, why did I get cancer 3 times, including once, the last one, only a year after being married, which involved all of the surgery, all of the difficulties. You see in the book that it's basically because I needed this for my own lessons, for my own growth, and it's part of what I do now with teaching.
So was this book cathartic for you?
None of us knew what was going to be in that book when we started. None of the psychics got paid for it. We all did this because if we got paid, people could say, oh, he paid you to say that.
Right.
And we believed in what the author Robert Schwartz was doing. It was very important. With me especially, it helped me as I looked how I got through the cancer. If you notice, I never say, I fought cancer, or I'm a cancer survivor, because my philosophy is what you fight, fights back. If I survived, then you think I held on by teeth and toenails. But a cancer dancer finds out how graceful they can be under pressure, avoids getting their toes stepped on, and will generally get off the dance floor in one piece. And that is why it's all how you view it. This is about pre-birth planning and karma, and people think, oh, karma, well, it's punishment or reward. It's not. Karma is actually 4 things. Number 1, it is unbalanced energy. Notice that's a neutral. It's simply let's bring it back into equilibrium, not good or bad. It's about service. It could be that if you're willing to go through an illness or a divorce, you may be actually serving the counselor that you work with, your doctor, your partner. Healing. If there's a story in here about a woman who was born deaf, and you will understand that this was because she had in the previous life heard her mother being murdered by a gunshot. She did not want to go through that again. Coming back deaf, she would not hear such things. Or it's simply contrast. If your soul decides, I want to truly explore everything there is about abundance, you might come in with some lives where you're Bill Gates and some lives where you're a rug seller in Calcutta. 2 opposite ends. Not because of good or bad, but because the soul wants to take a look at all possibilities.
So the old cliche of what goes around comes around, you don't see it that way with karma?
it is true, but not the way people think. What goes around comes around. If someone has a life where they take advantage of other people, in order for them to understand it, they may have to come back, and in another life, energy is balanced by these other people take advantage of them. Subjects that we do in this book are things like deafness, blindness, addictions, 10 of the most difficult things that people go through. In the next book, we do address things like poverty, miscarriages, why do people come in and then not even make it.
So there are 2 more editions of this book that are going to be released.
That is right. We have finished all of the channeling work for the 2nd volume. And Rob is working on that, and then there will be a 3rd after that.
And that it's available everywhere, Amazon.
Yes, Amazon, Borders, online, you name it.
So Your Soul's Plan. I definitely want to check that out. We don't have a lot of time, but there's a bunch of things I want to talk to you about. So
please,
we'll run through them very quickly if we can. We have some chocolate here that you brought us. Fire Through Spirit, Raven, Good Chocolate, Organic Fair Trade, Dark Chocolate, and Exotic Spices. Okay, so if I eat this chocolate, Corbie, what is it going to do?
It's virtuous chocolate. It is healthy for you, certainly better than a lot of the stuff that's out there. And face it, none of us are ascetics where we don't do anything that is not perfect. If you're going to eat chocolate, you might as well eat that. There's a terrific chocolatier called Life by Chocolate in the Hudson Valley that had that bar made for me specifically. So it's just
and it's
pure
organic.
Organic, fair trade, 73%, all the things that the New Age and Dr. Andrew Weil and everybody says, you can have some of this, it's good for you.
Well, thank you for the present.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.